And so today we're talking about the buyer consultation. We spent a ton of time last week and we just dove heavy into the listing presentation and everything that goes into being a listing specialist. Well, we do work with buyers, right? We do work with buyers. Any of us work with buyers, right? We don't mind working with buyers, right? Business is business. But do you have a formal buyer consultation? Who's got a formal written out? You sit down and you have a formal buyer's consultation. You know what you're going to say, what questions you're going to ask, what documents you're going to give them.
I have a buyer's package.
Maria has a buyer's package. Very good.
Yeah.
What does that buyer's package consist of, Maria?
It has a letter, like kind of introducing myself.
It's got a letter.
It has the buyer's reminders, like what to do after their offer is accepted.
Buyer's
it
reminders.
Has the little, I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah, that's the, I believe that's the Monopoly go around the board.
Yes. Yeah, it's the Monopoly board. It has like a sheet on closing costs. It says closing costs cleared up. So they kind of have a better understanding of that. And it has what to expect after the closing and a sheet on the supplemental taxes.
Ooh,
and the benefits for home buyers, like the home warranty. And then, and it has, I put in a sheet here for the utilities. Like, you know, it's like has all the cities with the different utility companies and stuff. And I don't have it in this one, but I usually also have a little checklist that I give, and I don't know why that's not in here.
Checklist. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Anyone else, like Maria, got the whole package ready to rock and roll? Talk to me. Just like, no, not quite. But that's why we're here. And I've labeled this a mastermind because none of us are ever here to say that we have all the answers. We can all continue to learn. We share with each other. And through that, we become the experts that we are in the industry. So I think we're going to start with this. I've got it's a buyer home consultation. It's a 16-minute little video on YouTube. And this lady's sitting down. She's having a conversation. So I want us to go ahead and take a peek at that. And we're going to take some notes and see what we can learn from that. And then we're going to dive right back into our conversation. So let me just drop this in the screen for you guys to be able to see it. And we will play it for you. Let me know if your sound is good. I should be able to see my screen, and we're going to let this lady take over.
Hi, Brian. So nice to meet you.
Hi, Andrea.
And Cinnamon. Nice to meet you, Cinnamon.
Cinnamon. Yes, my honey buns.
So, if you guys could live anywhere, where would that be?
I think we want to live here in the Northland area.
Okay. Any specific neighborhood that intrigues you?
Well, we like a lot of them. We really like the idea of a good school district. We don't have any kids right now, but we're thinking about it. So we want to make sure we're in an area that has good schools for them.
Right. So just the two of you moving as of now?
Just us.
Pets?
No pets.
Okay. Yeah. Great. So what do you guys do?
I am a librarian. And Cinnamon here is a baker.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. And what do you guys do for fun?
We take a lot of long walks. We cook together.
Great.
Don't we? Yeah, we do.
And read a lot, I assume.
What's that?
And read a lot?
We read a lot.
Okay.
We do together.
Wonderful.
To each other.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, very good. So we're going to go over a lot of information today. My goal today is to educate you guys to the point that when we find that perfect house for you, and I know that we will, that you will have the confidence to be ready to write an offer. So this little worksheet here is going to help you remember some of the things, the important things that we talk about today. So I'm going to ask you to fill in the blanks as we go along. Is that okay?
Sure.
Wonderful. So the very first one is the difference between a salesperson and a consultant. So you've ever been in, yeah, good, consultant, you got it. So have you ever been in a situation where you've met with somebody and they just spewed a lot of information at you and then asked you to make a decision?
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Pretty uncomfortable, pressure.
Yeah, okay. Great. Well, here on the Andrea Sheridan team, we take a consultative approach. What I want to make sure is that you have all of the data, all of the information that you need. So when the time comes to make a decision, you're going to make an educated decision. Sound fair?
Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is the difference between a seller's and a buyer's market. The media does not help my job any because they're going to give you a lot of information that may be a national statistic. So what I need to do is bring it down hyper local for you so you know what our market is. So on your checklist that you filled out when you got here, you said you were kind of looking in that 300,000 price range. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that sounds right. We don't want to pay too much more than that.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Wonderful. Well, that price range, we are in a pretty balanced market. Sometimes we have a little bit more inventory in there. So it's not necessarily going to be a buyer's market where there is over 6 months of inventory. We're probably at a balanced market because we're at 5.2 months of inventory.
Okay.
Okay. So we're not really going to be able to have not necessarily a whole lot of houses, but not so few that you feel like you're settling.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Listing inventory is 2% lower than it was last year. Not anything really to write home about.
Okay.
So the average list price to sale price, is that where we're at now?
Yes.
Is 97%. So from the asking price that a seller is asking for to what it sells for is going to be 97% of that. So let's look at your price range. 300,000 times 97% is going to be around 291,000. So I have kind of a direct question for you. You and Cindy. If we find that house, and I believe that we will, that is perfect for you, meets all of your criteria, is your dream house that you guys can bake in and read in, and the sellers are only willing to negotiate down to 291,000, is that going to be okay for you?
Yeah, I think so. It's a fair price.
Okay. Because I would rather disappoint you now than as we get into this process a couple weeks down the road and you guys find that house and think that you can get 280,000 out of it.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great. So inventory and timing, and let's see, are we on that now? Perfect. So inventory is down 2%, like we had talked about before. And we had talked about the months of inventory. If it's over 6 months, it is a buyer's market. If it's under 6 months, it's a seller's market. We are in a balanced market. My goal is to beat that seller up and get the best price for you guys. That is what you want me to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great.
Great. So next thing we need to talk about is being pre-approved. When we talked on the phone, you had kind of mentioned that you wanted to find the perfect house before you wanted to go through the pre-approval process. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it would be that good of an idea to start going down a loan process with someone until we actually found a home we liked, and then we could get a loan for that amount.
Okay, I can certainly appreciate that. Let me just take you down a scenario. Let's pretend you guys are selling your house. You got a job at the Library of Congress and they want you there in 3 weeks.
Whoa, that'd be the best.
Yeah. So, and you had to get that house sold so you could move to be there. So you're gonna hire a fabulous agent. They're gonna get your house marketed and it's gonna get 2 contracts in the first day. That first contract is going to be $2,000 under your asking price, but it's gonna be a cash buyer. The second offer is going to be $2,000 over that asking price, but they don't even have their financing together yet. What do you think you're going to choose?
I'm going to choose the one that's got their financing together.
Right.
I want to get to Washington, D.C.
Right.
And I want to start recategorizing their entire Dewey Decimal System.
Yes, definitely. I can see how that would excite you.
Yes.
So when understanding where the sellers are coming from, understanding their perspective, can you see how it almost makes you like a cash buyer if you did have your pre-approval already?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Wonderful.
get that.
So with your permission, I'm going to have Megan come in and she's going to talk to you guys for a little while. She's our preferred lender with Prime Lending. She'll be able to talk to you for about 10 minutes and make sure that you guys are good to go. So that way, when we find that perfect house for you guys, you're going to be able to buy it knowing full well that you can afford it.
That'd be great.
Won't that feel great?
That will be great. Okay, that sounds good. Sounds smart.
Okay. So Megan's going to come in. She's going to talk with them. She's going to find me in my office. She's going to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And either way, I'm going back in. I'm not just going to leave them in there. If it was a thumbs down, we educate so that way later on, they will come back to us. We'll tell them what they would need to do. We're going to stay in touch and we're going to get them all fixed up and give them a plan to then purchase. But we got thumbs up, so we're good. All right, Brian and Cinnamon, looks like we got the thumbs up.
Cool. We're gonna pause right there because we can't look at this too long because we'll all become like zoned in, right? So I want to get some feedback on what we've seen thus far. We can actually stop the share for a moment.
I think like for me, she's fine because I like to talk. For my husband, he would be very like, you'd be lost by now. Like you'd be like, okay. And he's gonna get home. He's like, she's gonna be talking like that all the time.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
but I think I like it. I like the explanation. So
If there was, I'd like to just go around in the room that we've got here now. If you could point out one thing that you've taken from this so far that you see as a critical piece or a word, maybe there's a pretty word that she uses, a critical piece that we should implement into our buyer's consultation. We'll start with Maria because she's shaking her head.
I loved how she used the consultant versus a salesperson. And I thought, oh, that's brilliant because then it makes it feel like you're coming alongside.
Excellent. We're not salesy. We're consultants. We're here to guide. Consultants guide you how to make the right decision. Salespeople just want you to purchase something, right? For sure. I definitely highlighted that piece as well. Who else? Magali, what you got for us? I'm gonna pick on people who got the cameras on.
I just like the example she gave because we've all come across that buyer that wants to go see houses tomorrow before they even see their lender. And we don't even know if they qualify for 250 or 550, right? So I really like the example because some buyers will be like, oh, she just doesn't want to show me right now. I like the example she gave where, you know, as a seller, hey, I'm not going to waste my time with you. You haven't even gone to your bank yet.
Right.
So I like the way you put it.
Excellent, excellent. Rhonda's got her hand up.
Hi. So I think that one of the important pieces was that she gave an example and let him know the statistics on what homes were selling for compared to the list price. And would you be a buyer disappointed if you didn't get that house for 280 versus the 291 that they're going for? Those are the averages. And are you okay with that? Because we all have the buyers that, you know, and she's doing it up front and educating him so that he knows you don't end up putting this lowball offer and that the buyers want to get it for even less than that.
I circled it as well, put the numbers down on my page, knowing our numbers. And then she said, I'd rather disappoint you now than later. Setting that expectation right up front is this is where the market is. I know the numbers. I'm the expert. So I want to help you to make the right decision. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Anything else? Let's grab Anne-Marie. She's on the screen. What'd you pick up from there?
I'm going to refrain from commenting because I came in a little bit late. I'll get caught up in a minute.
You're going to get caught up in a minute. No worries, for sure. Great pieces right there. The key phrase or the key word that I took away from the whole thing, if I could sum it all up, was educate. Our goal is going to be to educate a buyer in the process because people buy homes once every 5-10 years. So the process changes. As we know, when we came into the industry, what we were doing 5, 6, 8 years ago is not what we're doing today, right? And so we have to educate them in the process. So as you're taking notes, educate is, again, the strong word that I would use as to what the whole purpose of, because what is the purpose of a consultation? It's to educate you on this process that we're going through so you can make the most informed decision. Does that make sense? Any other comments before we jump back into our video? Excellent feedback, guys. Absolutely love it. We're going to let, I don't know her name actually, but we're going to let her continue to share with us. We're going to throw her back on the screen and let her continue with her consultation.
You guys are ready to go with your home purchase.
We are.
Doesn't that feel
Is
great?
so excited.
Yeah, finding that dream house is right around the corner. You guys are so cute. So next we need to talk about, I think we're on agency.
Yes.
So next part of our worksheet, 100% of my clients choose buyer agency. Can I explain that to you?
Sure.
Wonderful. A lot of my clients have found the benefit of having somebody in their corner negotiating directly for them is the best way to go. So average, okay. So the average list price to sale price, remember we talked about on that first page, you remember what that was?
Yeah.
97%.
97%.
Fabulous. Well, That is the Kansas City Regional Association's average for list price to sale price. My personal average, because I work directly for buyers and I love negotiating, that's the best part of my job, mine is 95.4%.
Oh, that's good.
So over and above what most of the agents do, I can save my clients 1.6%. So let's do some quick math. At 300,000, 1.6, that's $4,800. So right off the bat, can you see how that'd be an added benefit having me in your corner as
Oh,
your
yeah.
buyer's agent?
Yeah.
Great. Let's see. So I'm a specialist. I do see over 100 homes per month. So as we focus and laser beam the clarity of what you're looking for, I probably already know that house that's out there for you because I'm tracking the inventory that's coming on every single day. I want to make sure you find the best house. You guys want the best house, right?
Absolutely.
Great. Can you understand how timing is going to be the biggest factor of that? Finding one right as it comes on the market?
Yeah,
Great. So the early bird gets the worm, right?
right.
Okay, fabulous. And the other best part of buyer agency is that I get to answer your questions in a paragraph instead of a sentence. So what that means for you is if I were a transaction broker, just somebody filling out the paperwork for you, I would be able to just give facts, can't really give any advice or give my opinion on anything. So as your buyer's agent, as your representative, I get to explain the entire process, give my opinion, and it's my fiduciary responsibility to research the property, call that listing agent and see what information I can find about their motivation. You understand that having all of that information can put you in a better negotiating position?
Right. Yeah, we want you working for us.
Okay, fabulous. A couple more things we need to talk about is the MLS and the internet. So where have you guys been searching so far?
We've played around online, looking at different agent websites, trying to just kind of search for homes kind of sporadically,
Okay,
looking at pictures.
wonderful. So lots of different company signs and everything like that.
Yeah, just whatever kind of pops up.
Okay, great. A lot of my buyers get a little confused and they think I can only show Keller Williams properties. That is inaccurate. I can show anything that's part of the MLS and even for sale by owners, which we're going to talk about here in a second. The speed of which that I can get you the new properties that are on the market increases your chance of finding the perfect house for you. You guys understand that?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So let's talk a little bit about for sale by owners. A lot of clients think that if they call the for sale by owner directly that they're going to get a better deal. If you kind of heard that around.
Yeah, I can see how people are trying to cut out realtor commissions by just selling it on their own.
Right. And what they don't realize sometimes is that usually that for sale by owner is going to have to pay somebody to draw up the contracts. They'll probably even hire an agent because sometimes they don't understand the process very well. And you as a buyer, you know, you could go down the road and spend $3,500 in attorney fees and still not get that house because it might fall through the cracks.
I see.
So the great thing about a for sale by owner is that they pay my commission as long as you call me first. As long as I can talk with that for sale by owner, negotiate my fee and work on your behalf, that's the best way to go. Okay, so you'll call me first?
Absolutely.
Fabulous.
All right, cool. We're going to take another pause right here, stop the share, and I want to get some feedback on what she's sharing here. So, Jessica, you were on the screen, so I know you're there. So we're going to start with you. What did you pick up in there? If you could sum up one thing that you picked up that you saw was a critical piece we need in a buyer's consultation. Jessica went off the screen. She turned off her mic. She's just not going to talk to us. Jessica, oh mercy. All right, cool. Anne-Marie, you're up. You said you were. Oh no, Jessica's back. Jessica,
I'm sorry.
I see your camera. Turn it on, Jessica. What did you pick up on there?
Okay, so one of the things that I did like about the agent, sorry, and I had to step aside for a minute, but from what I got was that I like how she set the expectation. She valued herself and said why you're choosing me. I love the word specialist, the same way of what Maria said before, consultant. A lot of people think that we're like car salesperson, without offending the car salesperson, right? But just the fact that, oh, you know, you just want to sell it to me. You just want to put me in this house because it's easy for you or it benefits. No, we're here to tell you what's the best to suit your needs. You came here and told me your list, and I found something that fits your budget and your family. So I love those values of being the specialist and of setting your value aside and why they choose you or why your agent is the best to represent them. It's the same thing. Whenever I said I work for Century 21, oh, we work for Century 21. You know, we already have that brand name. But whenever you say I work for Century 21 Preferred, then that sets you aside because you're not just another agent of Century 21. You're a Century 21 Preferred agent, and why your company's better.
Love it, love it, love it. Absolutely. Setting
Sorry about the back and forth.
no, setting that value as an agent. You know, she was able to show that, you know, how much she can save them money by working with her. And that's something that maybe a buyer doesn't necessarily think about. Is the agent going to save me money? Yes, we can do that. And if I can, she's showing him how. Anne-Marie, you're up. You said you want to get up to speed. We know you are. What could you take away from that last segment that we just saw?
So I agree with what Jessica said. You know, and another aspect that I really like about the way she presented it is like she's closing them in, like, instead of, you know, the seller's contract or the buyer's contract that we can have them sign. I feel like the wording that she's using is closing that door for them already. You know, it's not something that you feel like once you know, leave this meeting that they're going to go out and use another agent, because they see value in her and the way that she's, you know, presented it, that she's going to fight for them, get them the best possible price, find them the perfect home, how she's going to do that. You know, the different tools that she has and is able to use. Yeah, I think she did a great presentation. You know, for me, I skip over a lot of this, so this is good information for me. I go directly with, you know, getting the pre-qual obviously is the first thing that I do, but I hold on to the pre-qual. I don't let them have the pre-qual, because then I'm the one that holds the key to them financially being able to buy this home. So that's the way that I've been approaching it, because it, you know, with the market the way that it is, you have to move so fast, you know. So actually sitting down for the buyer's consultation and all that gets skipped. I had to skip over it, you know. It's like, we need to go tomorrow, you know. So we kind of do that as we're going along. But I think this is super effective in selling value, you know, for you as an agent.
I'm going to pick on you, Anne-Marie, and I have to, because I'm the trainer. All right. And so you said something, and not to disparage anyone here, I'm always here to encourage us, but I found myself being guilty of the same thing. But you said something that I think is very important for us all to touch on. Is you said that you skipped over the consultation because we had to get out, right? What would be a problem we could see in the future of skipping the consultation and showing the properties first? Talk to me, team.
Well, I always got them pre-qual, so I didn't skip that part at all. I mean, we were pre-qualified to go buy the house, but selling value in myself, I think, is where I was lacking.
Okay, let me grab this analogy for us. So I've got a first-time home buyer, right? They're pre-qualified, right, to purchase a home, but they know nothing about the process. Why is it important that we take time to have a consultation to explain the process? That's where we're going with that one. Talk to me. We got our screens on. Maria, Magali, Rhonda. Why is it important to talk to them and explain that process? Felipe's got his hand up. Felipe, talk to me.
I was saying hi because I haven't seen Magali and Rhonda in a while, so I just want to say
hello.
I don't want to give away all the answers. I have a lot of answers. Rhonda, you're on mute.
Whoops, sorry about that. So it's important to not skip the process, because otherwise they're not going to be ready to go when the house comes up and they have to act. They'll drag their feet, or they'll have so many questions, or they'll back out, or they're just not they're not prepared to make a decision. And you don't want them to, you got to educate them so that it can be successful.
And sometimes
they may get discouraged because they may not have that $8,000 to $10,000 additional for closing costs, or they didn't know really that the houses are going in escrow and the first day they go on the market. So they start getting discouraged because they don't know where the market is, or they're not really prepared financially for the extra cost that they are going to incur with its transaction.
And who do they blame when their offer doesn't get accepted and you don't set an expectation about what the market's doing right now? Who do they blame?
Us.
They blame us. That's the big key, is that right now, by not talking to your clients and educating them, they're going to blame you, and they're going to be talking amongst each other saying, I don't think David's like taking care of us. I don't think he's doing a good job. Maybe he's only, you know, blah, blah, blah. I found all the houses on Zillow. He hasn't sent me anything. You know, let's call somebody else.
Mhm. You had your hand up, Jessica. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Um,
so,
oh,
oh, sorry. For me, I think like maybe because of the people that I dealt in the past, a lot were first time home buyers. I was a first time agent as well. And when you have that consult, you build trust. Like when you tell them specifically what are the steps, and I had really young Marines, you know, like that were like, oh, so and so bought a house and told me it's a great idea, you know, and you're like, okay, first of all, let's get you pre-qual and all these different things. So I did find the value in saying why I was the best. I also came from a bank, so that idea that why am I a better banker than, or we're a better bank than the other one. So I had that mentality and the educate portion, but also setting the expectation. And it's not to say, because a lot of them will be like, because I will tell them, listen, a lot of the offers are not going to go through, you know, you're going to get outbid. And so one time I remember someone telling me like, but you're kind of like setting it at the wrong foot of like kind of telling them like all the things that could go wrong. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not telling them all the things that can go wrong, but I'm telling them this might happen so you're not surprised. Even little things that I remember dealing, like I hate it when they came with the pre-qual from USA and Navy Bank and Navy Fed. You know, not that I disregard these banks, absolutely great banks, but I will always tell them the value of why it's so important to have everything in house. That I know the loan officer, or that I can call the loan officer versus the 1-800 number. You know, that the title company that Century 21 works with, they, you know, there's options for why we recommend. So I will always tell them, you have the power to choose whichever lender. But if we have an in-house lender, we can avoid certain hiccups and we can make this process go faster, you know, by talking to so-and-so. So I kind of always gave them that. And sometimes it's not that I overshare, is that, and I'm pretty sure the market that I'm getting in is the same one that I left. It's where there's very low inventory. We're like sharks in this tiny little guppy of seeds, right? And we're all looking at the same house. So, you know, I will tell them, so that initial consultation was the time for me to set the expectation, make them trust me, also ask all the questions.
Yeah.
What is going to happen then? And, you know, and build that time frame, you know, not a tight one, but kind of like, it's going to take a minute, but the moment that we close and I give you your keys, it's going to be one of the best moments of your life. And, you
Absolutely.
know, it always kind of worked out for me.
For
That's
sure. What you said was something critical as well. You know, you'd rather disappoint now than later. Setting that expectation. Claudia, I see you've got your hand up. Is that correct? Do you have something you want to share or no? She's got a hand up.
Yeah, I agree with her. She said the word trust, like you connect and you create trust too. And sometimes because they don't know, or most of the time they don't know what to expect, and we set ourselves apart when we start to explain to them these things, you know. I have compliments on that, like when people tell me like, oh, you know, I like to work with you because you explain the process, I know already what to expect, you know. And I had people telling me that before. So
Excellent. Excellent. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna finish this segment here. We've got about 5 more minutes. She's gonna share. While she's sharing, what you guys continue to take nuggets. Our goal is to walk away from this training is to build a 21-point consultation. All right, all the things that we should hear. We're Century 21. We should have 21 points. So we're gonna go again. This was a mastermind training. So I'm looking for you guys to share with me. So I hope everyone's taking notes. We're going to let her finish this little 5-minute segment that she's got, and then we're going to come back together, put our 21 points together, and we'll be able to build the best consultation that exists in real estate. Sound good? Oh, everybody said yes, right? Let me throw our screen back up for us.
Next thing we want to talk about is new homes construction. The people that are out there sitting on the subdivision, they're going to work for the builders. They are so happy to have real estate agents come in and represent the buyers because they know that they're going to help keep track of the progress on the house. They're going to help with all the paperwork. And 70% of new homes construction is, you know, assisted with real estate agents. So like the for sale by owner, I'm gonna give you these. These are open house guest passes that let the agent know, whether it's an open house or a subdivision, that you can take these. It says you are represented by me, and that any questions they have about your home purchase, they can call me directly. That way they don't have to bug you guys while you're baking and reading.
That's great.
So make sure you hand those out every time you go, okay?
Excellent.
Fabulous. All right. Perfect. So now's the fun part. We get to talk about shopping for your home. On average, my clients search for usually about 5 homes before they find the one that's perfect for them. Sometimes, because we have a laser focus on what your criteria is, they may find their dream house the very first house we go to. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be great, yeah. That'd be fun.
So I want to make sure that when we go through houses, you guys are going to be looking at the decorations, you're going to be looking at where to put the furniture. I'm going to be looking at more logistical things. So your feedback and my feedback together will help us get all that data together and make sure you're making the right decision. Okay? So just lay it all out there. You're not going to hurt my feelings. You're not going to offend me. If it's not for you, we say next and move on.
Okay.
All right. We're also going to go over today the purchase contract, because when we find your home, we're going to move swiftly in writing that contract. So we don't want anybody else to have the house that you guys want to sleep in. Okay? So we're going to go over all the details. I want to make sure you feel comfortable with the contract. So we'll be ready to write. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Great. And the earnest money deposit that you're going to put on that, it's your spit in the handshake. It's saying, I want to go through this process with you. Usually going to be about 2% of that purchase price. If we were in a multiple offer situation, I would ask you to bump that up and give us a little bit more leverage to write that offer.
Makes sense. Okay.
So when you and Megan met, she said, you wanted to kind of put 20% down. We can use that as play money with that earnest deposit. We can increase that earnest deposit. I make sure that your contract is written such that if we needed to back out of the contract, it's protected. Okay?
Makes sense.
Great. So next, let's talk about inspections. Once we have your house under contract, we're going to do inspections on the property, usually within the first 10 days. And we're going to make sure there aren't any major defects with the property. We're not going to be looking at little cosmetic things or anything like that. We're going to make sure that all of the main safety items are taken care of. And there may be a couple things that we want to ask the seller for, right?
Yeah. Awesome.
So we can either negotiate a really great deal on the purchase price, or we can beat them up over little things on the inspection. Which do you want to do?
I really like a good price.
Okay, let's do that then. Next, appraisals. After we get the inspection completed, we're going to have Megan order an appraisal. It's usually around $475, and the buyer pays for that. Best thing about an appraisal, it makes sure that you don't overpay for the property. Okay?
It's important, yeah.
Great. So we have loan approval today. The next hurdle that we have to go through is the full commitment. Once we have that, once Megan gives us the green light, you're ready to purchase a house. Won't that be great?
That would be exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
Ready for that. So you're working with a team of specialists. You have in-house title, you have an in-house lender, and my team will be protecting you all the way around. You're in the middle of our circle of trust. We have Cassie, who is so great. She is our administrative assistant. She's going to be taking care of all the paperwork stuff. And anytime you can't get a hold of me, definitely call her. She's the other half of my brain.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes. Next thing we need to talk about is referrals. They are the lifeblood of my business. I don't just make a living by selling you guys a house. I make my living by helping other people like you guys find their house, sell their house, or invest in real estate. So is there anybody you can think of right now that needs my help?
Well, we've got quite a few friends in the area, as you can tell by our occupations. We're extremely social people, and a whole lot of people. And I mean, we have been looking at investing, and even though we haven't done it yet, we would probably look at investing. We've got some friends that have talked about doing it with us, or maybe in addition to. We bump into people all the time.
Perfect. I'd love to give them a call and help them.
Okay.
Great. So as you go through this process, you're going to be looking at houses, you're going to be talking to a lot of people. So they're probably going to be more like that. Would you have them call me?
Sure.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Awesome.
All right. Well, now you're going to wonder, with all of these great added values of having buyer agency, you're probably wondering what it costs, right?
Yeah, does seem like you're doing a lot.
Yeah. I am fully representing you, negotiating on your behalf, and that is no additional cost to you. The seller pays my commission. We do have a transaction fee, and that just happens at closing. So are you ready to get started?
Yeah, I
All
am.
right, here we go.
Great. Thanks. Okay,
Look forward to finding your dream house.
thank you very much.
Rock and roll. So she covered a lot of points in that last segment right there. And we're going to go around before we start building our 21 points to our perfect buyer consultation. What nugget did you maybe pick up from that segment that you could share? We're going to pick on Magali for the first one on this one right here. I seen her; she was taking copious notes. So what you got for us, Magali?
Sorry, I know I was still writing when you started talking. What is it?
Just one thing you took away from that last segment that you think is a critical piece of our buyer consultation.
Oh man, I took a bunch of them down. Let's see. I like the fact that when she said we have a whole team, protecting you, in-house lender, our own title, everybody, you're like in the center of it. I really like that. Because that's kind of what I tell my clients, we're here to protect you, and throughout the whole transaction, we make sure that everything goes smoothly, blah, blah, blah. So I like that.
I totally agree with you. One of the main points I pointed as well was the team of specialists. She said, we don't just have a license, and we can just kind of figuring this thing out as we go along. We are specialists. Felipe, you got your hand up? You got something you want to share, or?
Yeah. I wanted to say we should pick on the ones that aren't showing their face. That's who we should be asking questions.
Philip, where's Philip? What do you got for me, Philip? That's the first name I saw. He's not showing it.
Philip's here in the office, so I know he's here. But I'm looking at Kimberly down there, always hiding behind the scenes. Rosie, Aaron. I know Aaron's working.
No, I'm not working. I'm actually driving. But one of the things that I like that she added in there was how she mentioned a referral, how she worked on referrals, and if he knew of anyone that was like himself that was interested in possibly purchasing a home, that he could, give her information out so that way she could help them as well.
That's awesome.
Huge.
That's awesome.
Right there in the consultation, she's saying, do you know anybody else? Right up front, getting those referrals, because that's where our business we know comes from. 80% of business comes from referrals. So right up front, asking for it, setting the expectation that I'm expecting you. And she even said, if during this process, if you're meeting and talking to other people, make sure that you send them my way. That was great. So great point, Aaron. Thank you for sharing that. Kimberly, I seen you popped on the screen. What you got for us?
I think that was Claudia.
No, I don't know.
I think that was Claudia. But I wanted to add real quick is she did mention about going over the purchase contract. So this is something that I actually always used to do in my business. I don't know if anybody does this currently, but you would be amazed, because think about this. Right now, we live in a virtual world, especially right now. We usually send off offers over DocuSign or DigiSign. So what I always used to do in my business is I would always sit down and say, let me just go over the contract so you understand what you're looking at. Because after we do this here, in the future, all the offers I'm going to send you are going to be online and they're going to be electronic. But I go over it with them, and I don't do a class, you guys. I just tell them what David said, the who, what, when, where, why. Who's buying what? How much are they paying? Who's the lender? These are the things you want to look at, is especially page 1 and 2. Page 1 is going to tell you your financing terms that you're offering. Page 2 is going to talk about what we're going to ask the seller to pay, if anything, if that makes sense. So I go over especially those first 2 pages, and then I just briefly go over the rest of it. And then once they have that, I say from now on, all the offers will be electronic. If you have any questions, just pick up the phone, give me a call or text. But at least I've gone over it with them one time, and that's invaluable. I hope you guys start to practice that and do that now. Okay.
Felipe couldn't have said it any better. Going over that is so critical. We get moving, we get the pre-approval, we write the contract, we just DocuSign it over, and they're just like, how many pages is this? And they just click, and then they call you something later, and it's like, how do you feel when you didn't explain it to them up front? And you're like, oh man, I really should have, And so right up front, going over the RPA, at least the first 2 pages, if nothing else, right? Because that's where all the stuff that you're filling in. The rest of it, of course, is there for them to read, to familiarize themselves with that document. So thank you so much for the feedback. So now we're going to take some time. We're going to go around the room here, and we're going to build. So if you're writing your buyer consultation, it was 2021 brand new, gonna start from scratch. We want 21 key points that you think every single consultation must have. We're gonna start with Maria because she's the first one to my right. What's the first thing that you're gonna write down on your 21 points?
You're saying of the documents that we need?
No, just everything. So whether I'm talking about inspections, whether I'm talking about the contract or the appraiser, pre-approval, what would be, if there's 21 things we could talk about in a buyer's consultation? Is it just how you doing, get to, build some rapport? If you would just put down one thing real quick, what would it be? Actually, give me two. We'll do two at a time. Two things. I'm gonna narrow it down.
I would say definitely the rapport, and I like getting them pre-approved.
Rapport and pre-approval. Okay, that's very good. Pre-approval is excellent. We're gonna move right along the way. The next one on my screen is Magali. Adding to that, Magali, what else does our consultation need?
What to expect to pay, for example, closing costs, and I would just throw the inspection. I mean, things that are like come up kind of fast in the transaction, or things that they really need to have in order for us to move forward.
What to expect to pay, excellent closing costs and inspection fees, critical pieces there. Anything else you want to add to that, Magali, before we move on to the next?
Perhaps since I'm going over some costs, perhaps like a benefit, like a home warranty, something that's gonna be to their benefit, and it may cost them, it may not, depending on what market we're in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Benefits of working with an agent, what we can help you to get. We're going to roll right on down. Jessica's the next one on my screen. We're adding to this. I got 4 points so far. What do you got for us, Jessica?
I think I will go over the piece of why am I the perfect agent for them? So the part of being the specialist. And I will go over probably about what we have in-house, our lender, our title. And if they say they already have a lender, I wouldn't discourage them. I would just set the value why I suggest the lender. And I will tell them again, it's all about protecting you. It's all about having this transaction go smooth. So expectation specialist.
Expectations specialist. Very good. Who's next on my screen is Rhonda.
Yes. Whoops.
Adding to that list of building rapport, getting the pre-approval, what to expect to pay with closing costs, inspections, the benefits that you have, such things as a home warranty, why I'm the perfect agent / specialist, and why you should maybe use the home our in-house lender or title. What would you add to that in a consultation?
Well, I think it's also important to let them know what's needed up front that I need to have in my hand to submit the offer because of the timing of the market. So I would like proof of funds, and I would like to make sure they understand, and are these proof of funds coming from a tied up CD, an IRA? How long does it take to get it out? Have all the money discussions up front. And what is their timing on? What are they wanting to close on? Or be in a house buy that we can target. Also, with those funds, I think it was already said to let them know what is not refundable, what we can't protect, the appraisal and the home inspection.
Critical pieces there, what you can't protect right there. Costs for home inspection and appraisal. There we go. Very good. Anne-Marie, you're up next. You're the next screen that I see, the next friendly face that I see. What you got for us?
So Rhonda touched a little bit on it, the timing of everything, how soon they're looking to move, and then going over like the whole contingency periods, and then the layers of protection that they have when their money's at risk, that sort of thing. I think that right now, considering a lot of offers are going in, with the appraisal contingency being removed, explaining how that's a benefit to them to get, like more aggressive with our offer. Having the proof of funds, like Rhonda said, I think is super important. And yeah, just the layers of protection, just letting them know that, you know, that there's 3, not just 1. We're removing 1, but that's, you know, and the reasons why, you know, and again, like focusing on the fact that, you know, they're working with a team of specialists and we're here to protect them, you know, that sort of thing.
Excellent, excellent. Guess what? Next up is Claudia. What you got for us, Claudia? Are you able to share?
I am sorry, I'm not able to share right now. I'm
No
not
worries.
able to talk.
No worries.
Sorry,
No worries.
but I can hear.
Aaron, I know you're driving. Were you able to share anything with us?
Yeah, I'm ready to. I can share. So one of the things, the takeaways is the market expectations. Letting them know in the seller's market that, you know, they may have to visit several homes and put in multiple offers as competitive as it is right now. So that way they're not disappointed when their offers aren't accepted. And then also, one of my experiences actually explaining that COVID-19 form to them and the purpose of it, not being able to just go visit multiple homes back to back without having that form in. I've had several buyers that are like, hey, why can't we just go see this home that I just pulled up online? And I have to explain to them, hey, we have to fill out these COVID-19 forms dealing with the pandemic. You just can't go visit a home just because you've seen it online and you want to go see it right now. So just having that expectation of, we need to schedule these home visits out and have the proper paperwork in line before we go visit.
Excellent piece that hasn't been brought up yet is definitely the COVID documentation that's needed. Thank you for sharing that. Definitely want that in our consultation because literally you will have those. I get them. I'm sure you get them. They text you like, tomorrow I want to go see these 3 houses. Really? Like, come on now. But if we don't set the expectation, it's actually our fault as agents for not explaining that to them. Philip, what you got for me, boss? You're there in the office. I know you're paying attention. Oh, Philip.
I don't have anything at the moment. I'm a little bit speechless.
Philip's overwhelmed. It's like drinking from a fire hydrant. I get it. He's just like, no worries. We're going to share all this out with you guys.
Exactly.
Ellen.
My mouth is wide open.
Ellen, you're an experienced agent. Let me talk to me. Are you able to share with us this morning what you think we need to add to our list of buyer consultation items?
Okay. They've really brought up a lot of good points that that I usually discuss with my buyers. I think one of the first things I also do, I don't know if someone already brought it up, like their buyers' expectations. What are they looking for in a house? Like how many bedrooms? What are important to them? And then after that, explaining that not all of this, part of the expectations that might not be in a single home. What are they trying to, like, are they going to be okay without having this? You know, all those stuff. And again, also explaining to them the market, especially for people who are looking for pool homes. How's that working right now? These homes sell like, wow, like really for a hefty price, $20,000, $50,000 more. Yep. Sometimes, most of the time. And so I set that expectation for them. I currently have one buyer that was looking for that and was just so surprised that, that the listing agents are getting $50,000 more than the asking price. And she was just really like, what? Mm-hmm. It is. So we're setting that expectation. What else? They've brought in a lot of good stuff though.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. What you are just kind of narrowing down, of course, what she was saying, what they're looking for, narrowing down that search. We have buyers, they really don't know what they want. Oftentimes we see it, they say, I want a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, and they buy a 6-bedroom, like 5-bath, like we don't want a pool, and they bought a pool. You're like, that's not where we started. So having that conversation, really trying to see if you can really narrow down what they're looking for. Because when they start, honestly, they're just not quite that sure. And that's where the consultation comes in, us being consultants rather than us just simply being salesmen or women. All right. I don't know.
To add, I think someone was talking about the contingencies, the timelines.
Yeah.
Because I think that's usually one of the questions about their EMDs. What's going to happen? Like how much? When sometimes they would feel like they just want to put this much, and I have to explain to be more competitive. We have to put in more, and explain how we have timelines to protect them as well.
Excellent. A couple of other things that I would just maybe add to this. For sure, we want to talk about new homes. Whenever we go and we meet with any of these buyers, we want to talk about new homes. The process it takes, because if we don't tell them to not sign in at new homes, they're going to get caught up by the salespeople at the new homes to sign in here. And when they go back and say, oh, that's my agent, we already saw this, want to get it. Guess who's not getting paid? Guess who can't help them? You can't help them because they've signed in there. So making sure we have that conversation, like she did there in the video, she handed him basically some business cards, and she said, "Hey, take these with you. So if you run by a FSBO, you see that out there, hand them my card. If you go to a new home builder, hand them my card. Let them know that you're represented by me. If they have any questions, they can call me. Don't sign in anywhere." And that protects you to be able to make a commission to get paid for the hard work that you're going to be doing. Okay. So another key piece that you want to make sure that you add in as well. A critical thing that she didn't mention in here, and I wrote it down here, is the escrow process. I really don't understand escrow. And I shared this because I had a client recently who they didn't understand the escrow process, and I've never explained the escrow process. So when they wanted to cancel and move on to another one, they thought that they could just, what are they going to get into? They were confused about the whole how escrow works. So explaining how escrow works, who escrow is, they thought escrow represented the seller and escrow was going to work in behalf of the seller. And so they wanted a different escrow company. Escrow's third party, like escrow they're not party to any side. But if we don't explain to them what escrow is and the role that escrow plays, then they're not going to know. So a critical piece there that you want to talk about is what role escrow plays in this whole process. All right. Something that was mentioned, and I believe we have it in her notes already, is the supplemental tax. Nobody sees that coming till the end. It gets there and they're asking you, what is this that just showed up in the mail? Having that conversation of what is the supplemental tax, that difference between what the value of the property was when the seller sold it and when they own it now, and that bill that's going to show up in the mail, it could be a couple $1,000s. It's critical for us to have that as well. I've got a whole list of here, and so I've got more than 21. Felipe's got something, go ahead.
So I'll add a couple because it sounds like what we're doing is we're putting together a 21-point checklist, right? So when this will be good for new and experienced when you're meeting with people, just to refresh your memory. I like that Aaron brought up the PED form. It talks about today's market and what to expect. So here's something that we could add as a checklist. You got to ask the question. So are you or did you serve? Did you serve in the military? Are you in the military, right? Mm-hmm. We have a huge percentage of people that are military in this area in Riverside County. So are you currently or did you serve? That's a question we always should be asking, because what does that lead into? Well, have you looked at your options of financing with a VA, right? So something very, very big to talk about is that. The other thing is we have to have somewhere in our checklist a question about how they prefer to communicate throughout the transaction.
Yes.
Communication, I stress it all the time. I talk about it, but we always forget to ask the question, are you a texter? Do you want phone calls, emails? What's up, right? Communication is something that we should be asking. Did you serve? Communication. Somebody literally just talked about EMD, which is awesome, because I was going to say that's always one of the first questions. Another thing that I think we can add to a checklist is David shared with everybody a piece of paper that says who pays for what. And that was in our listing workshop, but I think it's perfect to segue with buyers. Hey, this is what typically people can expect to pay on the selling side and the buy side. It's important for me to go over this with you because in this market, being a seller's market, right now, I want to show you what's negotiable, everything, right? And how we can get your offer accepted. So usually we ask the seller to pay for home warranty, costs about $600. Is that something that's a deal breaker, or do you think that's something you could pay for if we get to that point, right? I think that sheet is very important to have in a consultation, and it's already written out thanks to David for everybody. So negotiations, right? So that sheet also can tie into negotiations. So I'm not going to add to that. And then last thing is, what is your current living situation? Are you renting right now? Are you living at home? If we don't find a house in a month, what's going to happen? What if we find a house tomorrow? Can you move in? So current living situation is something also that we tend to forget to ask.
Really good one. Great nuggets. Thank you everyone for sharing. It is 11:59, so I got all these notes here. So what I'm gonna do, because that's what we do for you guys, we're gonna put together everything. I got more than 21. We're gonna put together this whole list so that you're gonna have it. It's Thursday, expected by Friday. All right, tomorrow. Not gonna be today. All right, but we'll get this done for you tomorrow. We'll get it typed up on a nice little form, so you'll have a nice checklist so that you can go through and say, okay, these are the questions that I should be asking. These are the things that the information I should be collecting when I sit down with a client. You don't necessarily have the whole formal presentation, but at least the questions to ask so that you can make sure that you're best able to serve your client, give them all that they need to make the most informed decision. Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
If you got anything you want to share, feel free, shoot me an email, shoot me a text. That's all we got for today. It's 12 o'clock. Go on out there and crush it like the agents that you are, and we will see you on the next training.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David.
Thank you.
Thanks.